Hello, 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 and welcome. Hello, Sagies. Welcome to a new session, and welcome to any newcomers. Okay, so I have brought you all here today for this dynamic session where we are going to go ahead and dive into the Ebony versus Ramona racism complaint. We are going to dive into what you have to do to make a complaint, register a complaint, such as a racist complaint. We will dive into what the accusation is exactly. We are going to take a little look at their background, each of them, and we're going to take a look at the surrounding ladies, who were a witness to the situation. So, buckle up, settle in. There will be timestamps because I'm going to take my time. Okay. I'm not going to rush this. This is not an issue to be rushed. So hopefully my sages and newcomers who I do consider sages because you're listening. Hopefully you guys can appreciate, my discrepancy when it comes to rushing some of the readings and not rushing them. Okay? I have my own style, my own way of doing things, and in the beginning, chances are, 90% of the time, you will get some background on what it is I'm getting ready to read tarot cards on. So, again, welcome, and I thank you for your patience. Those of you who want to skip right to it, no offense taken. That's the reason why I will provide timestamps so you can skip right to it. Okay, let's begin to sage this out. Now, before we sage this out, allow me to introduce myself. Okay, let you know exactly who I am. I am Indigo Sage, an awakened soul. I do have a spiritually based website at unapologeticallysage.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook under Unapologetically Sage. But first, before we continue, what I need you all to do is bring your beautiful eyes to the bottom of your screen, no matter what screen you're looking at, whether that is your iPhone, your Android, your Cricket, your whatever screen, whether it's an iPad, a laptop, a notebook, whether it's your flat screen or big booty screen TV, whatever screen you're looking at. Bring your beautiful eyes to the bottom of it and look at that red bar at the bottom. And what it says is, this is for entertainment purposes only, and every single word is what alleged and not to be used as facts. So anytime that you see this red bar at the bottom, the sentence inside applies. All right, so the first person up coming to the stage is Miss Eboni K. Williams. Take a gander. She's such a cute young lady, and I said that because that's just, you know, prevalent with the pictures that I've seen. So cute. Um, you know, so I've just gathered a couple of photos from her Instagram mainly, and so we have at the top left is her and Reza. We have her directly in the middle in London. And we have to the right of that, because I'm going clockwise, is her and Crystal Minkoff. Below that, such a beautiful picture. Hated to have to cover it up, but I had to push them all in this one page. But anyway, beautiful flowers. I forgot where she was at. My bad. Then we have, with the gray outline, her and Sonia Morgan, and they're actually holding hands walking down the street. Okay. Um, and so that's a little covered up because I wanted the Sonia Morgan, her name on it. When you click it, it shows their name, who's tagged and stuff. And because their faces are covered up, I wanted her name on there. So you can't really see them holding hands, but they're holding hands walking down the street. Now, at first, I thought that was cute, and then I thought, well, wait a minute. Is this a publicity stuntish? I don't know. By the end of this reading, you guys will let me know down in the comments. But either way, I thought it was cute. Okay. Black lady, white lady holding hands, walk down the street. All right. Um, then right next to that, in the white frame, is her with a flower, another flower backdrop, and an interesting ensemble she's wearing. Anyway, overall, cute young lady. So she was on the Real Housewives of New York this most recent season, and it was her first season on reality television in that manner, okay? Now, let me tell you something. She has a lot of history behind her. She's very much accomplished. She has 2 pages of summary, which I am not going to read them all. You are more than welcome to pause and read it all, okay? And what I did is I just grabbed the like important points, okay? So, one of them that I wanted to say is that she began college at the age of 16. She has JD behind her name because that stands for Juris Doctor. It designates someone with a law degree versus someone who has only a law license. Both degree and license will allow a person to practice law, okay? But one, you have to go to school longer for. And then that's when they distinguished that this person can be called a juris doctor. As I said previously, she has a lot of history, a huge resume, okay, huge resume behind her. But her law focus is family law, okay? And her license right now is in a non-practice status. Okay, it's in a non-practice status. And the reason for that, because she's spoken out about it, because somebody tried to make up fake news on this and pretend like, oh, she wasn't licensed and she was disbarred and all, whatever that headline said, it was whack. And what it is her license is in Louisiana, I believe, which is where she's from. And she's not living there right now. So she's not practicing there right now. And every year, apparently, you have to pay a fee. I forgot what it's called, but like an association fee, something like that. If you guys know, just drop that down in the comments. But anyway, there's a yearly fee, all right? And she's not paying it for that state because she doesn't live in that state. And so it's not like she's suspended or kicked out or disbarred. It ain't nothing like that. It's just on hold because she's not living there and therefore and she's not practicing there. Okay? So, and then the other article wanted to point out that some people, they even though they don't live there, they go there and they still practice. Okay, we understand that. However, she's not. So, it makes complete 100% sense if they had any, the people who wrote that article, that she's not paying those fees, so it's on hold. Anyway, she works on the Revolt radio station that was, I believe, founded by Puffy. Puffy, I believe, because it does say in here somewhere that she worked for Puffy. She moderated conversations for former First Lady Laura Bush. Okay. She has an association with the Essence Festival. So, CBS, CNN, and NFL networks, she's done broadcast for all of them. Okay, so early 30s, she has, like I said, a huge resume to where I couldn't even shrink. This is not even all of it. And I just refuse to try to just shrink it all in one page. But I wanted to provide this information for you guys, what I selected, and invite you guys to pause and read it if you like. Okay? So she is the person who filed the complaint. Let's go to the person who the complaint was filed on. Here we have Ramona Singer, who I found out in the new Housewife book. Her nickname is Ramona Coaster, and it's not an enduring term, if you know what I mean. So here's the thing that stood out most to me about her as I was searching for complimentary photographs of her online. She's always in black. I didn't know that that was something that she does. I've never had to look for photos of her, but anyway, she's always in black. And me personally, I like color, so if I had known that, I could have saved a lot of time because I kept searching for some kind of color popping, something popping on her besides them eyeballs. Okay? The eyeballs is always popping. I don't know what's up with that, but there it is. So, looking for color, the only other color I saw was her and Bershawn. Um, and we'll get into her later. Okay? And even with that being said, there were only two pictures of her and Bershawn. One is the one that she put on her Instagram, which is in the middle, on the bottom in the middle. And then the other is when both of them were on Watch What Happens Live with Bershawn in a beautiful yellow dress and um, Ramona in the pink dress. And it's funny because I remember Andy. No, no, no. I don't know if it was Andy or an audience member. Somebody asked her about that dress because, she doesn't normally dress like that. They said, I didn't know this woman was in all black all the time like Elvira, honey. Anyway, she said that it was a friend who had a collection of those dresses, and the friend asked her if she would wear it. She said yes, and so she said she likes it and she might start wearing those gowns or dresses or whatever. So now, as I've searched for images of her online, I understand why that question was asked because I'm like, what's so? I mean, the dress is alright, it's alright. So I'm like, what's the big deal about asking her what she wearing? Like, that's not, but now that I understand that this lady likes to just be in black, and I mean, I mean, when she steps out on the town, she's in all black. Okay. I have other photos there. She's in all black. Anyway, moving right along. Moving right along to her background. So her background is summed up this way. And right at the top, you can see I say real estate agent allegedly. The reason why I said allegedly is because I dove so deep into the surrounding um, reading, into this reading and things that surrounded and the cast members. And, I had to gather a lot of information. With that being said, I need you guys to understand that I did not go and verify whether or not she was a registered real estate agent with her license, a licensed, I said registered, but anyway, in New York. I didn't. I didn't have time. I didn't feel like it. We saw her play around with it on television. Other outlets say that she's a real estate agent. Okay. But I had to put allegedly because I didn't dive in and look up her license. Not this time around. I got too much to talk about. Okay. But she went to FIT and she blazed a trail in the honors program. And then there's other stuff. You are welcome to pause and read this if you feel like that's what you need to do. When she first came on, she had a jewelry line with her and her husband. Not sure if that's still going. I saw something that alleged that it was still going, but allegedly, allegedly, on all things allegedly. Now, the most successful, to my understanding, brand that she has is a skincare brand that's called True Renewal. This woman is almost 100 years old, okay? And she doesn't look like she's almost 100 years old, but she is. She almost 100 years old, okay? So, that skincare line works very well, very well. And when it first came out and was developed, she talked about it all the time. You guys can find online a clip of her teasing Tinsley because she's telling Tinsley, I'm 70 years old and you're 20 years old and I look younger than you. I look younger than you. And she's like dancing and bopping. Okay. It was quite funny, I'm not going to lie. But then Tinsley, I don't know if Tinsley started crying, but she's like, you're so mean. Anyway, the point is, if you guys have spare time, look that up. I don't know what it's called. I should have wrote down what it was called, but Ramona is telling Tinsley that she looks younger than her and she done made a song and she dancing. Um and she was insufferable when she first came out with her skincare line. She even told Sonia one time, this the indention, or some people call it the crack of our um, cleavage, the women's cleavage. I had a friend whose son called it a line. He wanted posters in his room with women with lines. And my friend was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's talking about cleavage, that line that we have between our breasts when there's a photo taken of us. He wanted women with lines. Honey, I died. Okay, good thing I came back to life. But she was, attacking Sonia, saying how she looked old and then she attacked that line part because she said it's so wrinkly. And all you have to do is put the cream, you have to cream it. You have to cream it up at night. Anyway, look, let me tell you something. I can't help it if that's what I remember of Ramona. But let's move right along. All right. First things first, we are going to examine how does an investigation for a racist remark work. This is generalized as an explanation. Each state and then each government part of the workforce can be individualized and may be unique. Again, this is general. So, first, you need to determine your work environment. You need to choose, is it hostile or abusive? Is it discrimination or harassment? After you've decided what category it is, this must be in a way that any reasonable person in the victim's position would find the misconduct severe or pervasive. Afterwards, after you've done that, Here comes the utmost importance. This is what can make or break your case. You must prove that these conditions has altered your work environment in such a way that you can no longer perform your assigned task. For this, you need a preponderance of evidence. This preponderance of evidence includes, but is not limited to, objective and subjective, witnesses, doctor's notes, documentation that proves harassment, such as emails, texts, write ups that go against or are in excess, but may go against the policy and procedures signed and acknowledged by all employees of said workplace. So we're going to take a pause right here. That's the general explanation of how to file a complaint on a racist coworker, because I could not find anywhere where you can just say, "Hey, my coworker is racist," and they need disciplinary action because they racist. I couldn't find that anywhere. I could not find a racist, this person is racist, check this box right here on any kind of complaint form. And I myself have experienced this before. Um, the process of filing a complaint of harassment, and it's that in it of itself is stressful. So like when you're already stressed and then you have to go through this process, because trust me, they don't make it easy for you. And a lot of times, I just mentioned that you may need a doctor's note. They want you to see their doctor, whose job it is to lean towards them. So it's biased. But then you can also get your own doctor after you see their doctor. Then there's times where you need to get an attorney. So afterwards, after you've done that, here comes the utmost importance. This is what can make or break your case. You must prove that these conditions has altered your work environment in such a way that you can no longer perform your assigned task. For this, you need a preponderance of evidence. This preponderance of evidence includes, but is not limited to, objective and subjective, witnesses, doctor's notes, documentation that proves harassment, such as emails, texts, write ups that go against or are in excess, but may go against the policy and procedures signed and acknowledged by all employees of said workplace. So we're going to take a pause right here. Explanation of how to file a complaint on a racist coworker, because I could not find anywhere where you can just say, "Hey, my coworker is racist," and they need disciplinary action because they racist. Is racist. Check this box right here. And I myself have experienced this before. Um, the process of filing a complaint of harassment, and it's that in it of itself is stressful. So like when you're already stressed and then you have to go through this process, because trust me, they don't make it easy for you. And a lot of times, I just mentioned that you may need a doctor's note. They want you to see their doctor, whose job it is to lean towards them. So it's biased. But then you can also get your own doctor after you see their doctor. Then there's times where you need to get get an attorney. So I feel like there's no time better than the present to go ahead and let you guys know that I did a video, one of my very first videos. I think this was my second or my third video with this series, Tarot Spills the Tea. And it was on Luann, and it was on and about the racist moment that we are talking about right now. In that reading, months and months and months ago, in that reading, at 2 marks, this spirit predicted this, okay? And that's at the 28-minute mark and the 41-minute mark. All right. So I am going to attach this video, and I suggest you guys listen to it. And this one is about, that video is about, will Luann ever offer a sincere apology to Eboni? Now, let's begin to dig into the nitty gritty of this and pick it apart. All right. The accusations. So, page 6 reported on this. This was the first one that I saw, first outlet that I saw that told us exactly what it was. Page 6 can reveal the alleged comment that launched Bravo's investigation into racism. A production source exclusively told us that singer 64, oh, so she's not 100, y'all, my bad, my bad, reputedly said, "This is why we shouldn't have black people on the show." In reference to eboniKWilliams after luanndelesseps kicked Williams, who's 38, out of her home. After that incident, Ramona began to fear the reunion because she felt like Eboni was going to try to make her look racist. Now enter the stunts. So, I'm not sure if all of you know this, so I'm going to say it so that we're all on the same page. These housewife shows are not recorded 1 week or 1 day, before they play on our television. These are recorded, they can be up to 4 months ago. I know during the panorama where we all had to wear masks and still do and all that, um, it was up to like, I think there was somebody who was almost a year delayed. So, they're not live. We all know that. These are months and months and months back. And then as they play, things develop and people tweet and they, see the people's confessionals and they get all in their feelings and all this kind of stuff happens in real time, while the fact is that all of this recording stuff happened months and months and months ago. So in that moment, um, then we know that there is the Bravo editors. Okay. Everything then is in the hands of the Bravo editors, who I have a love-hate relationship with because they play too much. Okay? Have you ever had a friend that just play too much? Bravo editors play too much. Now, we are looking back at wide-eyed, not doe-eyed, but wide-eyed, poking out pop-eyed Ramona again, because I feel like this was a stunt. And I want to ask you guys, do you feel like it was a stunt? And even her homegirl Sonia said it was a stunt when Sonia was, I believe Eboni had some kind of like election party or election gathering or whatever, and um her friend was there. I think her friend was Natalie. I think that was the name of her friend. Anyway, she invited the ladies and Sonia showed up. Sonia, Leah, and Luann showed up. And Sonia was the first I believe. And you know what? It don't even matter if Sonya was the first or not with what I'm getting ready to say. Sonya ended up getting so boisterous about her feelings that this photo right in the middle on the lower one with Ramona and Bershawn was placed on Ramona's Instagram. She says she's just doing that because she's black and she's just basically trying to appear friendly with black people. It's all a stunt and they're not real friends. That's what Sonia alleged. Now, I've been reading that book, the housewife book, baby, and I will show y'all some excerpts, okay? But Sonia and Ramona have known each other the way they make it seem like since they both came out the womb. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But my point is, Sonya, whether she was loud or not loud, like her delivery, you know, um, needed help, whether she was drinking or not drinking, okay? Because we're not gonna blame this on the alcohol, blame it on the alcohol. No, we're not. With her knowing her so well and being friends with her the longest, those two been the longest friends. You understand what I'm saying? She knows what she's talking about. And Sonya said in that party that she did that because she was black. Now, I didn't really, I mean, I can understand the words that came out of her mouth, but I didn't know why. Like, what for? Why is she on a black campaign to show us that she got a black friend? Hmm, interesting, right? And it seems like to me, and I'm gonna say this because I can, and this is how I feel. They said they bonded over eyelashes. Ramona met Bershawn at a function and she told Bershawn, your eyelashes is they cute, but they need to be for nighttime. And Bershawn thought that was so funny and cute. And they just became like the best of friends. And, so there we have Ramona. She now has not only a black friend, she has a loud, obnoxious black friend. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. And that she can parade her on Instagram, but it's funny just one photo. Okay. So that's not really parade. So I'll take that back. That's not parading. You just have one photo, that's not parading. And you know, I guess she tells Brashawn, this is what it seems like to me. You can go ahead and be my friend, quote unquote, loosely used. And what you'll get is you'll be able to publicize your business and you'll milk it until the cows come home. Go on every single I think I am the only YouTuber who has not interviewed this lady, okay? Um and it's nothing wrong with that. It just seems like she's extremely thirsty. She goes she went on a lot of interviews, talked to everyone. Some were professional settings, some were not. And I'm talking about her setting, okay? And basically, she agreed to this. This is all alleged, of course, but I feel like they had an agreement. You come on and be my quote unquote loud, obnoxious black friend so that I can show I have a black friend. I am not racist. I can't be racist. I have a black friend. We've all heard of that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Um, anyway, and if you don't know what I'm talking about after everything I've just now said, because I don't feel like I can say it any plainer, I'm sure if you Google it, white person says they're not racist because they have one black friend. I bet. I bet. If you Google it, it'll come up. Okay. Um, now, let's continue. Furthermore, recently I heard that they all left the housewife book party when Eboni showed up, allegedly. They are Luann, Ramona, and Leah, allegedly. Now, I haven't heard any comment from those three ladies about their behavior and whether or not their exit had anything at all to do with Eboni. However, Eboni was asked, and Ebony's answer was this. She confirmed that those ladies were not there when she arrived, and she said she had a very good time without them. Here's what I have to say. With a 5-person cast, the ship was bound to sink. Do you think Ebony should return next season? The majority, Luann, Ramona, and Leah, may have an issue with filming scenes with Ebony. Okay? So, and all of this is, everything I say is alleged, so on and so forth. It's alleged, alleged, and what? Alleged, and not to be used as facts. This right here is just my opinion. I saw trouble in the water when it was just 5 of them anyway, and that group is too small, and is very easily, can be clicky, with that, and with Ebony being the first African American black woman on there, it's just too easy to ostracize her if they chose to do that. There were issues straight up. They, editing saved it for the middle part, and I'm curious to know when that actually happened though. But they saved it like kind of towards the middle-ish, little before the middle-ish of the season, and that's when Ebony was at Luann's house, and Leah. First of all, they set it up to make it seem like Leah brought her on, and we'll touch on that a little bit later, so I'm not going to go into that right now. But I don't believe that to be true. I don't believe that they were friends. All right. Um, now, uh, Leah at this picnic or whatever at Luann's house had just got done cussing all of them out. Up, down, left, right, and cat a corner. She cussed them all out, okay? So close to them to where I'm sure some spittle got on their face, like cussed them out doggedly. And then walked away and proceeded to, I'm sure she was up front waiting, and I'm believing, waiting for an Uber or whatever, her driver. So then they go into the conversation about what just happened, and Ebony talks about it and kind of giving a sense of defending Leah a little bit, but really just trying to be like in the middle, like middle ground. And some way or another, she Luann sat up there and brought up education, which Ebony responded to her bringing up education by saying, "Well, I have the most formal education amongst all of you." Luann did not take kindly to that and basically said, "You calling me stupid in my house? You ain't gonna call me stupid up in my house." To which nearly everyone at the well, Sonia was saying she didn't call you stupid. Heather Thompson was there too. She was like, she didn't call you stupid. So, they were saying she didn't say you were stupid. That's not what she said. And Ebony was like, I'm just responding to you saying, that this had to do with education. And to which Luann replied and lied and denied bringing up education. Of course, uh, Bravo producers rolled that beautiful Bing footage right on back and showed that she did say education. She did. She did. She did. She did. So, whether she meant to say it or not, she said it. And that is exactly what Ebony was responding to, the words that was coming out of her mouth. All right. So, and that was a trigger for Luann, a person, I'm going to say a person, talking about their level of education for whatever reason was a trigger for Luann, who based her level of education on being able to speak 4 languages. Now that sounds like some shit Dorit would say. And I think y'all all know how I feel about Dorit. Now I had more respect for Luann than I have for Dorit. And Aunt has more respect from me than what I have for Dorit. But now you want to talk about that's your education, you basing your education on the fact that you speak for, okay, girl. Okay. All right. All right. Hey, to each his own. Um, so Heather and Sonia were trying to diffuse this situation while Ramona was across the table telling Ebony, "You're talking loud. You're talking so loud. I need you to calm down and lower your voice. You're talking too loud and you're hurting." This woman said, "You're hurting my ears." And she put her fingers on her ears. I'm here to tell you, Ebony was not yelling and she was not talking loud. Okay? And I'm wondering if this was a time, I can't remember. I know she ended up saying it to her at some point, but she said, Your white fragility is killing me." All right. Get all the way into it. So, what I would like for you guys to do is drop down in the comments and let me know if you feel like Ebony should even come back. All right? Let's go. Just in case you guys need your memory refreshed, this is an image of the incident that we're talking about. So, this right here is the alleged time and place, I believe, when Ebony left. Because Ebony did end up saying, because Luann kept saying, "You're not going to call me stupid in my house." And after Ebony had exhaustedly explained that she did not call her stupid, finally Ebony said, "You know what, Lou? I can leave your house." And Lou said, "Yeah, I think you should go. Yes, go ahead and go." All right. So Ebony left. It is, in my opinion, when I read all that I could read, that at that point, when Ebony left, Ramona said, "This is why black people should not be on this show." Allegedly. Now, of course, you still have producers and stuff around, and there's a producer who heard it who did not like it, and they filed a complaint, and Ebony filed a complaint following the producer's complaint. All right, so this is where I am going to begin to talk about the surrounding ladies who surround this racist accusation. Heather Thompson is a former New York housewife, and she dibbled and dabbled with thinking about coming back. So she was invited on this trip. So she was there with this argument between Luann and Ebony. And when Ebony went to the front of the house to wait for her Uber, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Heather and Sonia came to the front and like spoke to her. Anyway, once Ebony reached their rental home, shortly after the ladies all returned, and the first one to shoot up to speak to Ebony, and I believe she had intentions of apologizing, most likely like for the entire white race. Um, One of the things that she said that was crazy to me was that she understands black people and like the plight of black people. I'm paraphrasing, not quoting, and everything I say is alleged. But she says she did say she understands black people and what they went through because she's worked for Puff Daddy and Mariah Carey before. So she understands the black struggle. To which both Ebony and Leah looked confused. Ebony handled it very professionally, thanked her for her concern and her, condolences, I guess you could call it, and kindly pointed out that Puff Daddy and Mariah Carey's experience in life is not the same of the average black person's plight. So you can't say based off of those two individuals that you understand black people and what our hardships and stuff. And of course, after it aired, Heather apologized profusely and now she understands what she did wrong and I guess maybe now she understands. I don't know what this white lady understand about black folks, but she claimed to understand something. Okay? So, the reason why I'm pointing her out is because she was there, and I'm wondering if she at some point let um, Ebony know that, and not even as a tattletale, but just, just as women sit and talk sometimes, we say stuff. I wonder if she said, because she was basically throwing Luann and Ramona a little bit like under the bus, which I can understand how they were in the position, how they put themselves in a position to be thrown under the bus. Okay. But my point is that I wonder if Heather had said at this point, because they edited the part where Ramona says black people shouldn't be on the show. We do not see that. So that was purposefully edited out. And I wonder if Heather, at that time where she was connecting and throwing those other two under the bus, if she said, and Ramona says black people shouldn't be on the show. Which reminds me of Garcelle on the Beverly Hills Housewives saying to Rena that I heard that you said that those issues, racial issues or black issues, should not be brought up on this show. Don't they got their nerve? Don't they got their nerve? They got their nerve. Ooh, these ladies got their nerve. Um, while saying that, I can see it from the point of view of, oh, the show was light and now it's heavy. However, this is reality and it's a reality show. Point blank and what? Period. That's number one. Number two, was it ever really light? Was it ever really light? Because the thing about it is, without a black person with bringing forward racist issues and racist remarks and all of that, first of all, you should always want to learn and be aware. That shouldn't be a problem with you. If you have a problem with learning new things and being aware and becoming more sensitive to other races, then you need some help, because that sounds like you want to live in a bubble. And this world is not a bubble. So that's a concern, number one. Number two, I challenged that remark of like, oh, this is a heavy topic and, the show is meant to be light. So far as you guys fight, fuss, cuss each other out, throw wine, water, pull hair, break wine glasses on tables, and act like you're going to stab somebody, threaten to stab somebody. I don't feel like that's light. What I need y'all to do is come to the MF and light and knock it off. Okay? All of a sudden, black people come on and it's dark. Pun intended. If you don't, honey, I could not. I could not. But I do feel that both Ebony and Garcelle has handled these situations with style and grace. Okay? And I commend them for that. Seriously, I really do. Okay? They are awesome for keeping it cool and, while still handling it and not falling into because Luann had the nerve to try to act like she was scared. There is one point where Luann says something about being afraid. But, oh, Jesus, I was about to cuss. But B, B, uh-uh. And I ain't talking about Beyonce. When I say B, you better knock it off. Afraid. Oh my God. Okay, continuing on. So, like I said, Heather has since made an apology, and I saw that on Watch What Happens Live, and I think that she's probably said it on her podcast, and I think I saw it in print. I hadn't listened to her podcast, but it's just apologies everywhere about saying that she know black folks. Let's move right along. Moving right along brings us to Bershawn Shaw. She, as I said earlier, went on a whole interview media tour. All right. I see her as an opportunist and not as someone who is an actual friend of Ramona Singer's. Therefore, I discount her opinion of Ramona Singer, which her opinion sounds like a defense because she says, I gotta tell you, Ramona is not a racist. The reality star 47 told Us Weekly, I gotta tell you, Ramona is not a racist. Okay, it sounds like she's doing what it was she was hired to do, allegedly, which is why I discount the words that's coming out of her mouth. And that's not alleged. What she's saying don't mean nothing. All right, moving right along. Especially when we get to this part. Um, you know, it's all fun and games until somebody put their hand in your face. Just ask Candace. Boom bop. Anyway, um, it's all fun and games until somebody put their hand in your face. Now, and invade your personal space. I was gonna say get into it, but I'm like, no, don't get into it. Don't get into personal space, okay? It's all fun and games until you invade somebody's personal space. Now, I'm gonna take y'all to the bottom right photo image. Bershawn has a talk with Eboni about her bringing up all this blackness. And basically, she asks her to chill out on all of that with these white women's and just have a kiki. Ebony tells her, I understand what you're saying. I receive it. However, I will have a kiki for tonight. And quote kiki unquote. They both say kiki. All right. Um, I remember because I remember laughing at that. Um, but anyway, the way that Ebony said it, I will have a kiki tonight. Just so serious, like dang girl, Kiki ain't supposed to be. Anyway, so she did say she could have a Kiki for tonight, but she said I'm not letting these women off the hook, because I am black and it shouldn't make them feel uncomfortable. Because Bershawn, in so many words, was trying to say that she's making them feel uncomfortable. That excuse me, they're not used to these topics and they're just trying to have fun. And she's bringing up all this, black that, and making them feel uncomfortable. Like I said, in so many words, this is what Rashawn was saying. So she was sent by Massa to go talk to Ebony and basically ask her to stop making them feel uncomfortable. Okay, and you can even see Ebony's hand up. You can see her hand up, like, look, check this out, okay? Because I know who sent you. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. And here's my question right now. In these scenes, now that we know that Ramona said A and possibly more racial insensitive remarks, I wonder how many were said that we don't know about. And perhaps that's the reason Ebony was so um focused on Black awareness, African American history. Okay. I can kind of understand now. Because without that background, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see every episode you trying to stuff this down their throat, because that's what editing made it appear to us to be. And I always say what we see on reality TV is not reality. When you put an editor in there, that no longer becomes 100% reality. All right. So now I'm like, oh my gosh. So now, here she comes, Bashan coming in talking about, hey, like from one black girl to another black girl. Girl, how about you hush about that black stuff? Girl, get your ass out my face. Get your ass out my face. Which is why I commend Ebony along with Garcelle for handling it so eloquently, because I would not have been able to do that. They didn't say what I just said, but I'm saying what I just said is what I would have said. You're going to have to get your ass out my face. I know who sent you. Get your ass out my face. Okay? Get out my face. I'm going to have to respectfully ask you to remove your entire body and being from my face with that mess. That would have been me. Which is why you don't see me on a reality show, okay? I live in real reality, the reality of the reality of the reality, and I just talk about this stuff. Now, above that photo, you see Rashawn, who is a person with a lot of nerve, asking Ebony to chill because they just want to have fun. They don't want to, she's making it heavy. Girl, she actually, in that same trip, got into a physical altercation with Sonia. A physical altercation with Sonia. Bershawn got into a physical altercation with Sonia. Where is the chill? Because these white ladies want to have fun, so just chill with all of that. Just chill and have fun and have a kiki. Where is that at? I feel like yelling like Nene did when she was yelling to Kim. Where is your scooter? Where is your chill? Where is your chill? You about to whoop ass. That ain't nothing chill about whooping ass. Ain't nothing chill about that. Ask Candace. Okay? Candace could tell you that ain't chill. That ain't a good time. All right. So moving right along, because that was BS. You could just tell that was BS. She was not about having a good time. People who are about having a good time don't get in physical altercations. Like if your spirit is high vibrational and you just there to have a good time, you're not going to get into an altercation. Now, I could break this down further, but I'm not. Unless somebody meet me down in the comments, I can break it down in the comments. But I'm going to move on because this is already going to be long. Let's go. All right, you guys. Sages, sages, sages. I've been waiting for this moment to explain a little something, something. So, this is what you're looking at right now are excerpts of the Housewife book. Okay. So, I'll go ahead and say I'm referring to the Not All Diamonds and Rose book. The reason why you will hear me going forward refer to it as the Housewife book, because I don't want to get, some kind of infringement charge or whatever. I don't want to go to YouTube court. Okay. So, just based on a little bit of my research on how I can present this and show this and be safe from YouTube court and all of that, um, I had to alter the image and basically, kind of, sort of, really, I don't even want to use the title. So when you hear me say the Housewife book, you already know that's what I'm talking about. All right. Or either I'll say the latest Housewife book, possibly until it's not the latest. I don't know, but let's just be on the same page. All right. Now, what you're looking at are excerpts from Andy, Leah, and Carol. And they are referring to the show and Eboni being on the show. Now, what irritated me to no end was that Ebony is not speaking in this book. I couldn't find, well, let me rephrase that. I couldn't find a quote or anything that shows me that they spoke to Ebony herself. Now, I don't know, I haven't heard anything saying that she refused to talk. I haven't heard that, and I'm not saying that. I don't know if they did interview her and maybe she had some things to say that they did not want to put in it. I don't know. I haven't heard that. I don't know if they made the choice not to talk to her at all because you two knew. I don't know. I haven't heard that. Okay. All I know is I cannot find in this book any speaking or point of view from her directly. I just saw them talking about her being on the show. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but guess what I'm going to say? I don't know. So this is what we're working with. Andy, Leah, and Carol. Okay. Andy says it's embarrassing that it took this long for diversity on this show. Sometimes there is a tone deafness about it that is funny. That's Mr. Cohen. Leah, to the mixed Sweeney, says that when asked about Ebony being on the show, this is pretty much, let me tell y'all something. This is pretty much all she says. She doesn't say anything about, this is my good friend. I've been knowing her for a long time and we go back, way back, back. Nor does she say producers told, I hear my dog out there doing something. Lord bless his heart. I hope he's safe. I'm gonna check on him after this anyway, for, just in case. I don't need y'all in my comments saying you better check on your dog. I'm gonna check on my dog. I love him. Okay, he is approaching 15 years old. He's 14, so he'll be 15, and that's in our year. So he's over. He'll be over 100. I love him to death. Had him ever since he was 8 weeks old. Anyway, Leah. She doesn't say they've been friends since way back when, nor does she say producers told me to introduce her to the show. However, I have heard that the producers told her to introduce her on the show. I heard that they got her name from Bethany. So, Leah's quote for how she feels about Ebony coming on the New York Housewives is, it's awesome. I think it's great that Ebony is representing black women. I have that highlighted. Ebony is representing black women because I have an issue with that. I take issue with that as a black woman. I need these white folks to stop acting like one black person, no matter the age, skin tone, gender, job title, represents every single black person. That is not how it works, and I ask you guys to knock it the F off with that BS. Because if we were to say Ramona represents all white folks, all Caucasians, they would be in an uproar because they would be like, well, she's racist and not all of us are. Okay? Now this is alleged, and what alleged? But I'm saying knock that shit off right now, okay? From one black woman to everyone in the white race, because I see white racists do this quite often. Knock it off. We are not a monolith. You cannot say and pinpoint one black person to represent an entire race generations and generations of people. Knock it off. Stop doing that. You sound dumb. Do not do that. And I have no idea why you would believe that one person of any race represents any entire group of people, of individuals. That sounds absurd to me. Stop it. Okay. And I don't know if this is what Andy thinks is funny, but there's certainly tone deafness. Except with Carol. Okay. Carol, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but anyway, she used to be a housewife on the show. She said, I honestly would come back on the show for those episodes when Ramona and Luann are meeting the first black housewife. Ramona is obviously going to step in it and say, quote, all lives matter, unquote, or something insensitive, and it's going to be game on. Who is Carol? Who is Carol, you may ask? Because I know I did. Um, I wasn't fully 100% watching every episode and invested in this show the season that Carol was on it. However, I do know that she's mostly known for being BFFs with Bethany, and then they had a falling out, and she's that girl. Okay. I remember watching the reunion, which there's a photograph of the reunion to the left bottom, and that's her and Bethany pointing at each other. I remember watching that reunion, and one thing that I liked about Carol, I didn't know Carol, but one thing where I was like, you better come through, Carol, was when Andy says something ridiculous, excuse me, as we know that he can do from time to time. And it was basically, Andy was, and this is why I see now why people used to say that Bethany was Andy's favorite or one of his favorites. Although I hear more recently that that's not the case. But at that time, I could see where that was the case because he was biased. He was clearly biased. And Carol asked him some mess that he had said as it relates to Bethany and Carol. And Carol told him, so what, Andy? You mean to tell me you're afraid of her too? You're afraid of her now too? And Andy like brushed it off like, oh yeah, yeah, right. I'm afraid of her. Sure, sure. But Carol's point was that like he wasn't being objective. He wasn't being fair. And even though I did not know who Carol was, and to be honest, I didn't know exactly who the hell Bethany was either. Now, okay, that's the season I had just barely started watching them here and there pieces. So I was just as familiar with those two ladies the same, which means I didn't know who each of them were. But just watching the reunion, clearly I could see he was being unfair to Carol. Like when she was trying to speak and explain things, it was being like glossed over. And so I was happy that she said, are you afraid of her too? Because she called him out on that BS that he was spewing. So I like her even more now that she's the only one in this book that called it out on both Luann and Ramona, saying that they were going to step in it and be insensitive to the first black housewife. She called it. Right here is part of the reason why I will have timestamps okay? Because this is just straight up, part of this is just being nosy, just a nosy moment, okay? But the bigger picture is I wanted to see where the cast members stood, what side of the fence they were on, and I wanted to look at their net worth just to see if there was a pattern. Just to peek and see, we just peek and see around here. And I didn't really find a pattern. Nevertheless, here's their net worth. Anyway, okay. And it felt very interesting to me. But also at the same time, I wanted to talk about the snubbing, the possible alleged snubbing. So we have to the um, right of your screen in the orange is Luann, who was the first insensitive one who possibly snubbed Eboni. Okay, that was alleged. Ramona, right under her, who, piggybacked off of that incident allegedly and became insensitive by saying, and this was in quotes from page 6, that this is why black people shouldn't be on this show. And then we have Rashawn, the kiss ass, the loudmouth black quote unquote friend of Ramona, friend for the moment. Like, what are they hanging out now? Are you guys hanging out now, ma'am? How you just gonna put one photo and then like call it a day? Like, bring her on the show, go on Watch What Happens Live, and call it a day. Like, I showed y'all I got a black friend now. She loud and everything, and she went and talked to Eboni. She is my friend. She went on her little old interviews and said, I am not racist. So, like, that was her PR cleanup moment. I got a black friend. She's going to go vouch for me. Okay, girl. All right, girl. In the meantime, that black friend got snubbed by Eboni for um that Jewish and black people dinner. I forgot what it was called.
Black Shabbat.
Came up when she was talking about it, which of course, in those moments we can tell that producers told the women, y'all all come gather, so she came and gathered and was like, oh, what, can I go? Am I invited? Whatever. And Ebony was like, oh no, it's just for close personal friends. Now, I've seen, like I said, Brashawn had many, many interviews, and she said different things in these interviews about this one incident, and they all can be true, because as time goes on we feel different emotionally about certain things that has happened in our life, okay? And a lot of times I like to say we get over it. In the moment, of course, and close to that moment of it happening, we're sensitive. And then as time goes on, as they say, time heals all wounds, so then you become unsensitive and you don't give a F. So that seems to be what it was, because when it first happened, she said her feelings were hurt. Okay? And she was saying something about, as a black woman who's supposed to be empowering other black women, why would she invite the white women but not invite this black woman? Okay, girl. And I can understand. I understand. I understood what she was saying, and she said her feelings was hurt. Okay. Then fast forward a few months later, she said she didn't care. She didn't want to go anyway because she don't want to hear her doing all the talking, teaching. She always trying to teach and preach. I was like, oh, okay, okay, your feelings sure have changed a lot, which could be true. However, it's a big leap in a short amount of time to say your feelings were hurt and you didn't understand how the one black lady wouldn't invite the other black lady, to jump to you didn't want to go anyway because she teaches too much. I think it's a lie somewhere. Anyway, this is like a Finding Waldo lie somewhere. Now, Carol is in yellow and she's at the top, and then the blue portion to the left is the people who I believed were in support of Ebony on this racial issue. This is the racial topic. This is what we're talking about. On the bottom, you have one that is slightly, it's blue, but it's slightly under the orange because that is Leah. And allegedly, she snubbed Ebony as well. Now, let me say this real quick because I talked to someone and heard someone else, and both of these people have an inside look at some of the real housewives, like they know them on a personal basis. So here's the deal. I heard that Luann, Ramona, and Leah allegedly were upset with Ebony and did the snub at the book party because they feel like she's the reason why they didn't have a reunion. This complaint about Ramona's racist alleged remark or whatever. And that they lost a lot of money because the reunion gives them a bonus amount of money. Before I heard that, I assumed that and was talking to someone else, and they know a housewife personally, and assured me that if they called him right now, that she'd get on the phone and talk to him. Which that was never a question, but we were just chit chatting. And I told him, that and I forgot how reunions came up, but I was talking about how they get a bonus, and he explained that they don't get a bonus. And the way he explained it, I understood it, and I offered up, I said, oh, I understand, because that would be like getting a bonus for coming in on Friday. Like, yeah, you don't feel like it, but you're not going to get paid extra for it. That's just you were contracted from Monday through Friday to come into work. And he said yes. So that made sense to me. About a month later, after that conversation was had, then I hear that they snubbed Ebony because they're upset that she's the reason why they're not getting a reunion, and the reunion brings in big bucks, a big buck bonus for them. Let me tell you something. I don't know who to believe, because it did make sense that you don't get paid to do the work that you're contracted to do. You don't get paid extra unless that's in the contract. But then at the same time, I had originally just thought that they got extra money for showing up to that reunion. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think that it is in their contract that if they show up to the reunion, this, and this, and if they don't show up to the reunion, this, and this. Just like the same way we knew Lisa Vanderpump was not coming back after she didn't show up to the reunion, because it's somewhere in the contract, I had heard allegedly, that if you don't show up to the reunion, you're terminated. Okay? This is all hearsay, of course. Um, and so when I say I think it's in the middle, is that I kind of believe that some people do get bonuses for the reunion and some may not. Okay? Okay. Okay. And you're welcome to pause this and look at the money. This is their net worth. Carol's at the top because she seemed to be the neutral person as far as I could tell. Not to mention her net worth is the biggest. 50 million is her alleged net worth. And then I'm gonna go ahead and read them real quick. Luann, who's on and like I said, this is not in the order of their net worth. This is in the order of their like support of which side they're on. Luann is 25 million. Ramona is 18 million. Bershawn is 5 million. Then going to the top, Ebony is 3 million. Sonia is 8 million. Heather is 10 million. Leah is 3.5 million. All right. This is all alleged. Let's keep going. All right. So I am going to attach this video, and I suggest you guys listen to it. And this one is about, that video is about, will Luann ever offer a sincere apology to Eboni? At this time, I would like to ask you guys if you could be so kind to click like and subscribe, okay? Um, I would really appreciate it. And also click the bell for notification of the upcoming videos. And share. And be sure to comment, okay? Engagement is what gets us YouTube content creators put in the YouTube algorithm. So, any kind of engagement that you do, I really, really appreciate it. So please have at it. And thank you so much. Let's continue. Make no mistake about it. We are entering the tarot reading for Miss Eboni K. Williams. The question I asked Tarot is, what made Ebony decide to file a complaint on Ramona? Okay. So, my regular sages and anyone who's watched one of these videos before on Tarot Spills of Tea, you already know. There are 5 cards, 5 positions, and then there's a bonus, which is the energy card. Okay. As a tarot reader, I choose to show and talk about the energy. The energy of it all is very important to me. Okay. So, I'll break it down as we go card by card. Let's sage this out. Now, sages, let me tell you something. At the start of this, instead of the first card being the past coming out, you guys already know on occasions the energy wants to be in the front. They want to come out first. And when the cards want to do that, I let them do that. Okay? This one was unique in a way of, this tarot reading right here tells the story leading with the energy that she had going in to this decision, and at the end it still gives us the normal regular tone of the energy influence, as I always do. Okay. So everything still applies, but this was like extra eagerness. The breakout energy, okay, is the Fool card, which is numbered 0. 0 represents infinite potential as a blank slate. The journey to come will shape this person's character. And I'm going to hold right here because that's very important, because that is, in my opinion, like Spirit is telling me that's what's going to influence whether she returns for a next season. And then also, on the other hand, whether she's invited back for another season. The Fool generally refers to the start of a new path, one where she'd be filled with optimism and freedom from the usual restrictions on this show. Okay, so I am wondering and kind of feeling like she's the very first one to file a racist complaint on, like, across the board. She believes that Anything can happen in life, and there are many opportunities that are waiting to be explored and developed in regards to this show. With that energy, she has turned some of those ladies off because they're veterans of this show, and this was her first season, and they feel like she's coming in and trying to take over and trying to move it in a different direction, and they are feeling like, how dare you, you're a newbie and you need to stay in a newbie's place. The past. The past is represented by the Two of Wands in reverse. Reversed, she views this as an unexpected obstacle in her TV career. Okay? And I say it like that because she had an idea where this was going to go and where she wanted to take it. This was unexpected. This obstacle created issues for her. She's come to realize she cannot plan for everything. She has to draw on her strength and trust her capabilities. Okay? We've seen that that's no problem for her to draw on her strength and trust her capabilities. However, this is pushing it beyond the envelope or beyond what she's used to. Okay? Because of course, obviously, you're only used to what you're used to. You're only used to what you've gone through. You're only used to what you've experienced. This is completely different in more than one way. So that's the reason why it pushed her further than what she expected to go. Okay, it pushed her in unfamiliar territory. And just like the rest of us, most of us, unfamiliar territory is slightly uncomfortable. The degrees of uncomfortableness, they vary, but that's what it is. The present card is the Eight of Wands, and it was also reversed. And it refers to waiting, slowness, chaos, delays, disruption, being unprepared. Either you are not moving fast enough in your job or you have moved too quickly. One or the other. So, presently, like as she was making that decision of whether or not to say something, she was trying to balance the pros and cons of it all. And let me tell you something, upright, this card means fast communication. It was in reverse, which tells me she feels like it was, oh gosh, what do you call it? Overdue. Overdue, that's the word. Like it was overdue. Okay? That was her overall biggest feeling, is that this should have been happened. But then there was something tugging at her a little bit saying, are you moving too quickly? Because what facts do you have in order to make this stick? And of course, this refers back to the breakdown that I did at the beginning of the video on what you need to have in order to make this an official complaint that will turn out in your favor. As we know by now, it did not turn out in her favor, and I meant to pull that in, but anyway, and it's reported Ebony has no comment, but she's very displeased, quote unquote. She's displeased by that outcome. It didn't turn out in her favor. So, which is why there was a little nagging at her, small amount of nagging that she may be moving too quickly, but overall, she felt like she wasn't moving too quickly and that it was overdue. The best of it that she saw of it is Seven of Swords, y'all. Y'all know I'm not a fan of Seven of Swords, baby. It's a card of deception, thievery, lies, conniving, hiding. It was in reverse. Spirit is telling me Ebony, and I'm getting a rush right now of information. And I did. I prayed and asked for them to. You know what? That brings me to this real quick. I lit the moon incense, which the moon is in charge of your emotions. And I asked Spirit to reveal to me and give me the emotions that each one of them felt as they were making the decisions that they made regarding the situation. And now I am being rushed and flooded with her emotions. She had a passion for revealing the truth, which is why this card in this best position is flipped on its head in reverse. Let me read let me read the uh I'm getting flooded, y'all. I'm getting flooded. She felt very strong about this, revealing the truth behind all of this. Oh, I wonder if she gonna write a book. Come through, Ebony, okay? Because I'm getting so flooded right now. It's very strong. Flipping them on their head, like, revealing the, um okay. Whew. Reversed, the reversed seven of swords means consequences of actions, liars exposed, truths are coming out now, and lies can be exposed. Okay. That's crazy. I got that down there twice. I didn't know that. But that's very strong. Okay? And I'm not even aware. I didn't do that on purpose. Anyway, sometimes those who are at fault are not brought publicly to justice. Ebony is keeping that in mind. However, disappointing that would be. She's banking on Ramona's character to dictate Ramona's fate. Okay. I remember going into this as a the best of it overall, because you know what? Ebony is a reasonable thinking person from what I've seen. Okay. I do not know her personally, but her energy is giving me that she weighs pros and cons often, which of course she's an attorney. So even when attorneys prepare to go up and charge somebody with something or defend somebody, like that's what they're trained and that's what they learn to do is weigh the pros and cons and you know get somewhere that's a feasible sort of middle part that they feel like they can accomplish easily with like the least amount of resistance. And I can totally see that in this, okay? Basically, though, overall, she wants lies exposed. I don't know what, well, the lie is that Ramona's behavior is okay. And when we get to Ramona, I'll break that down more, but it's widely accepted and believed that her behavior is okay. It's quirky and it's okay. And Ebony wants to show what it really looks like behind the scenes. And this is a message to not just us, because she's had no comment after this. She did what she had to do. You know what I'm saying? She ain't got to say nothing. She ripped the band-aid off. She uncovered what she needed to uncover. She ain't got to say nothing else. Her point is to let them know that that behavior is not okay. But here's the thing, just in the previous card when I said that this took her by surprise, it was unexpected. She didn't go in knowing that Ramona was gonna and Luann Spirit said and Luann. She went in not necessarily knowing that Luann and Ramona were going to be racist individuals to this extent, allegedly. However, being in it, y'all know, if y'all saw what I saw, y'all know that she felt like she had to do something about it, which was exposing it. So, therefore, your behavior will then, whether it goes her way or not, because then the question is, what did she want to come out of this? You've registered a complaint. Did you want her fired? Did you want her canceled by cancel culture? What did you want? And then just, and then I don't know if you guys remember, but and I meant to put this in there, but obviously this video is long as heck. She took 2 weeks off from social media once they got to the Luann argument where Luann kicks her out of her house. Well, people saying kicks her out, but she asked her to leave after she said maybe I should leave. So, saying kick out is kind of, you're teetering. But with all technicalities aside, ultimately Luann decided to ask her to leave her home. Because she didn't initiate it, however, she decided to ask her to leave her home. That episode and the following episode, Eboni took a break from social media because she used to get on Instagram and promote those episodes and talk about them afterwards and that kind of stuff. She decided not to do that because she said it was too emotional, and she did say there was stuff behind the scenes that was so emotional that she just can't relive. And I was like, what? What you talking about? And so then, of course, she said that right before the episode aired, and so I'm all pumped up to see it. And then when I saw it, I was like, this, this made you that emotional? I mean, and when I say we, I mean black people, and more specifically, black women. We encounter racial discrimination and all that kind of stuff all the time. Some of us daily, some less than. But it makes you so emotional to where you can't communicate on social media. I was like, oh, that's putting a lot on it, but we'll see, because I just knew in my heart it had to be more. And for those of you who may not like that I am I'm expanding greatly on this card, I am reminding you that Pia Talks said that those three buttons at the top, you can make it 1.5 speed to where I'll still sound normal and it'll just be quicker for you. Okay? Because I'm going to do me. I've always done me and I'm going to continue to do me. And that's why there's timestamps. I love you all and I appreciate all of your support. But if I want to expand, I'm going to expand. Okay? And I'm not going to feel bad about it. Now, so yeah, so Eboni had came out before and said it was so emotional and she just couldn't bear it and she couldn't be on there talking about those next two episodes. When we seen them when they were aired, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is not that bad." We encounter this type of stuff all the time, unfortunately. Okay? Um because me saying that we encounter it all the time as black people and black women, I'm not saying it's okay by no means, because it's not. But I felt, just seeing the bit that I saw from Ebony, that there's more to it, and I hoped that we would find out later, sooner than later. And here it is, here we are. That's at the point in the moment where Ramona was talking about black folks shouldn't be on this show. This is why. Excuse me. Moving right along. The worst is, in her mind, Ebony's mind, the worst of her decision would be the death of her contract, strictly based on this complaint, or an alteration of how she's viewed by the public, or a recreation of how she's been treated while being on the show. Because people do that all the time with editing and lies. You combine lies with editing, you can make anything look like anything at times. And so she definitely doesn't want a recreation of how her experience was in reality on this quote unquote reality show. So ultimately, Ebony wants to move forward with nothing change except that everyone is more woke and aware. Okay? Other than that, she wants no change towards her and how she's treated, how she's viewed. And I am feeling like most likely she will not be coming back. And right now, this is me indigo, okay? Because I didn't ask Spirit if she'll be coming back or not. Um, but based on the information that I have, with the ruling not being in her favor, Indigo, feels like she won't be coming back. What's to come is the upright Four of Cups. And the deck I used, by the way, is Before Tarot, which is very similar to the Rider Waite original version, but it's playfully called The Moment Before. For Ramona, I used After Tarot, which is called The Moment After. Four of Cups upright is what's to come. It represents boredom and disillusionment. It can be hard to focus if you feel you are going nowhere. It may be helpful to take some time to detangle this issue. Looking inward and knowing what makes you feel so unhappy and doing something about this can help you make a change for the better. This is part of the reason why I don't feel like she'll be coming back. I just, I don't know. I feel like it's at least 60-40, 60% chance she's not coming back. Um, I just don't think she particularly wants to. But if she does return, I feel like we'll see her kind of, for lack of better words, attack the situation in a completely different manner now that she sees exactly how the game is played. Okay? This kind of, if she comes back, she'll use this as a stepping stone, a footstool, because she'll be able to see how the game is played. Okay? The energy influence. Okay? This one is the one that let me know it belongs right here at the end, as I always have an energy influence. It was only that the Fool card that rushed in the front, which let us know that's how she was feeling. That energy was darting. It was darting. It was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. That energy of the Fool for deciding to make this complaint. Now, her steady energy, okay, which are the roots of the tree, and all the rest of the cards, as I explain it, is like the trunk, branches, leaves, flowers, fruit, but a tree starts from the root. Here's the root. Reversed Hermit card. She came out of a period of contemplation, this time with a clearer understanding of what it is she wanted in terms of her career. This made her think of her career in its entirety. The Fool's Russian energy was first, and as I already explained, it was darting. But afterwards, and actually during this time, she had deep contemplation. Never once did she, and I am not implying by no means that she just prematurely made a decision. What I'm saying with that Fool card as it relates to the situation is that at times she wondered, was this too quick? Is it gonna, meet my purpose? That kind of stuff. Am I a fool to think that I can make a change? Okay? That's what it meant. So she contemplated on the good, the bad, and the ugly of all possibilities as she decided to go forward and formally make this complaint on Ramona's remark of this is why black people should not be on this show. At this time, I would like to ask you guys if you could be so kind to click like and subscribe, okay? Um, I would really appreciate it. And also click the bell for notification of the upcoming videos. And share. And be sure to comment, okay? Engagement is what gets us YouTube content creators put in the YouTube algorithm. So, any kind of engagement that you do, I really, really appreciate it. So, please have at it. And thank you so much. Let's continue. All right. Welcome to Ramona Singer's tarot reading. The question that I asked for this reading is what made her decide to respond in the manner which she did. Now, her response has been denial. And I saw some other things on social media where she was saying it's just been unfortunate and she's had a very bad week and all this kind of stuff. Um, so that was my question. As my regular sages already know, that the question is very important, and so I always make it plain and known what question I asked, and then, we deduce from there. Also, her energy as it came out, it was 5 cards. And Spirit showed me that they go with each position. And so it can be viewed as for layman's terms, it can be viewed as a clarifier. So there will not be like one bonus energy card at the end. The way I lay this one out, each card has an energy card, which shows us the energy she had or has as she's feeling what she's feeling in that card. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and sage out. Just throw a whole bunch of sage on Ramona. All right, let's go. Okay, now let me come out and say that the past card is the Magician in reverse. That already is a sign of deception, straight up. And it's workplace deception, obviously, because we're talking about a workplace complaint and her response to it. It busts out with deception. All right. Um, the magician is someone who has the ability to manifest whatever it is that they want. So it's kind of scary that she has that power and she's using it for deception. Let's look at the energy behind that slash clarifier. The clarifier is the Three of Swords. And by the way, the magician in the past position as the main cards, the 5 main cards are concerned, is the only one that's reversed. Okay. Um, anyway, and again, that's workplace deception. which ties into Ebony's best of being the Seven of Swords reversed, because that's a card of deception when it's upright, and she wants to expose lies. Okay, Ramona, and that's the best of it. Ramona starts out with workplace deception. So there's no surprise there. Clarified by Three of Swords upright, and it represents conflicts at work, hurt feelings. Now, hurt feelings are about possible job loss. I want to make that clear. Not hurt feelings as if she thought her and Ebony were oh so close. Nope, 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 nope. Hurt feelings over possible job loss. Hurt feelings over, like I said, I'm going to leave it right there right now because I'm going to explain that later when we get to it. Which also brings me to, because basically we're doing retrospect, looking at the cards and at this season and the way it played out, and now things are more clear for us. Do you guys remember towards the end when Ebony, I know she took me by surprise when she towards the end said that her and Ramona are alike and that they get along perfectly fine and very well, and Ramona and her are more alike than they thought. Honey, I was scratching my head. I was scratching the mess out of my head in confusion. Like, what? Now, in retrospect, I think she was making a point and being a little catty at the same time. Because I think Ramona even looked a little confused at first, and then she went with it. The show has become a great source of stress, frustration, and sadness for her, Ramona. The moment she was questioned, okay, get into it. The moment she was questioned, she'd never had a conflict at work amongst colleagues escalate to this capacity, which is why she was worried that Ebony was going to paint her, make her out to be racist at the reunion. Ramona feels like this is a teachable moment for Eboni K. Williams, as if to say, watch this. See, these two ladies, if they both return next season, it's going to be, as Carol said, game on. Okay? Game on. In the present position is the upright Knight of Wands, which represents passion, energy for work, and brave decisions. The present card position is the main one that is representing how their mind was thinking when they made that actual decision. When she made the actual decision to respond and what that response would be to this complaint on her racist remark, it was a brave one with passion and energy for work. Let's look at that energy a little closer because, as far as we know, as the public, what's been released to us is that she's denied it. Okay. The clarifier showed up in reverse, and it is the Ten of Cups. That is no surprise to me. Okay. Because upright, Ten of Cups is harmony, family, friends, stability, harmony, like all of that. It's reversed. She's feels like, oh my gosh, she's attacking my Ten of Cups, is under attack. Reverse, it represents hostile workplace, tension between colleagues, isolation at workplace, which could also be seen as them trying to isolate Ebony when they all decided to leave, allegedly. Her basic sense of stability is security. Oh, wait, her basic sense of stability and security, feels shaken. She became flooded with feelings of tension, loneliness, and frustration surrounding the show. Okay? Which is new to her. With this intensity, this is new to Ramona. And it seems like she became angry about that behind the scenes. The best outcome is represented by five, excuse me, not five, I'm sorry, um, seven of wands. This card always cracks me up. Look at the main character, elevated like he was in the Matrix or something. He just levitated, elevated up off the ground with his stick to take everybody down. That is everybody, okay? The reason why this is in the best is because it does represent conflict. It represents competition between colleagues, which is what the ladies create. And it also represents competitive work environment, which is what Bravo or whoever their production company is, it's what they create. So I'll say Bravo, what Bravo creates, competitive work environment, okay? So here's the thing. The reason why that's best, she's thinking the best of this could possibly be that now that can be her storyline, basically. You know what I'm saying? Them dealing with their issues. And we've seen this trope before in the Housewives franchise. You have issues one season, and then the following season, you guys are supposed to work it out. And that's your storyline. That's what she's seeing as the best. She is a true housewife lady. Like she's trying to stick to the formula. She doesn't know any other way to be than the formula. Okay? And what's so funny, they showed me an image of the how dare yous. And what I mean by that, some of you may be familiar with the King of Queens show where there's a married couple and that couple host, they, allow the wife's dad to stay in their basement. They take care of him. His name is Arthur. Very funny actor. Then there's Carrie, who's Leah Remini, and I forget Arthur's real name, but he's the father of Ben Stiller. So it's something Stiller. Anyway, may he rest in peace. I believe he passed away. All right. Forgive me if he didn't, but I believe he did. Anyway, humorous, very funny actor. There's a scene where Carrie finds out something about something that he did that he kept a secret, and it was about her childhood. And when she confronts him, they get into the battle of what I like to call the how dare yous. Okay. So he's like, how dare you, go through my personal belongings? And then she's saying, how dare you keep this from me? And so then they just go back and forth. He says, how dare you? And she goes, how dare me? How dare you? How dare me? How dare you? And it's just back and forth, and it's funny as heck. Okay. I know that I may not have given it justice. I apologize. You just gotta watch that clip, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna search for that clip. If I find it, I am going to put it in this playlist. I am the How Dare Yous, okay? Because they are both feeling strongly in that moment. How dare you? This is how these two ladies feel. Ramona is, how dare you, newbie, come in on your first season. And she's seeing it as an attack. She's seeing it as you're trying to get rid of me. Ramona's an OG. She's been here since season one. So she is like, how dare you? And I'm going to tell you something. In all honesty, 110%, there is the possibility that this makes Ramona feel even further buried under her prehistoric feelings and thoughts of this is why we shouldn't have black people on this show. This didn't open her eyes and, make her a more accepting and tolerant you know, equal rights person or anything like that. This, unfortunately, pushed her more so in that direction. Okay? I'm just reading the cards. That's what I'm doing. But of course, Ebony pushes back with, how dare you feel like because of the color of my skin, I shouldn't have the same platform that you have. And they're saying segregation, like they should be segregated, like as if they want to send her over to Atlanta or Potomac or something, but not on this show. No, Ebony is here. She's on this show, girl. Wake up, open your eyes, girl. Okay, moving right along. How dare you? So, the card that clarifies the best is in reverse, and it is the Four of Wands. No surprise there. This kind of has the same feeling being reversed as the Ten of Cups has being reversed. They both represent happy family, home life, all of that. And it's reversed. The energy is reversed. So, reverse, it means she wants to evoke a waiver as an exception to the rule for being hired solely based on her willingness to allow Bravo to exploit her, quote, unfiltered, unquote, behavior. Excuse me. So, there's been a lot of talk about Ramona's unfiltered, and you never know what she's going to say. All right. And so with that, she feels like there's an exception to the rule for her, and that would be the best of it. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that. As we dive a little deeper into the Ramona wanting to be excused or feeling like an exception to the rule because she's quote unquote unfiltered, we go into some excerpts from the Housewife book. And the very top one is her saying how much Bravo really pursued her. They called her up and said, "We want you. We really want you." All right. Then Andy, I follow that with a remark from Andy that says those people who is just funny without trying to be funny. He's referring to Ramona. She's funny without trying to be funny. She's one of those type of people. She makes people laugh. Then we have a producer of some sort named Lisa something. As you can see, I blacked it out, and you guys should know why if you listen to the first half of the video. Ramona, Sonia, and Luann wanted to really establish, quote, the way we do the show, unquote. On to the newbies. Okay, so this Lisa person, had to basically check these ladies to let them know you're not running the show. Three new people came in and they wanted to run it down on what they should and should not do, what they could and could not do, and say and act and how to be. And this person is acknowledging that they ran down those newbies like, like they were in charge, and that's how they felt. Okay, and we still see that behavior in both Luann and Ramona. And then here's Ramona again talking about finally warming up to some people, and she's been on there for 15 years, on the show for 15 years. And what else does she say? That maybe she shouldn't be so vocal, but that's why I'm good TV. I'm unfiltered. And I can't tell you guys right now how many times people refer to being unfiltered and unfilteredness being rewarded. And Ramona sits at the head of it all being unfiltered, 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 and being rewarded for it having absolutely no consequence, because whenever she's rude or vile or any horrible behavior, they laugh at it. As Andy said, she makes people laugh, and they pursued her for this unfilteredness. She went pretty much almost unchecked, except for this Lisa person, when she came after the newbies. And, she's always been unfiltered. So to sit up here and just casually say that, you know, hey, black people, this is why black people shouldn't be on the show. She's expecting the same pass that she's been given in the past. The worst, as she sees it, would be the Tower card up right. It means sudden job loss, workplace disruption, workplace chaos. Okay, mainly focusing on sudden job loss. Okay, the tower, it represents a huge and unexpected change in your life, point blank, period. And for her, the worst would just to be fired because of how she responded. All right. So the clarifier was reversed, and it is the Queen of Cups energy. Reverse Queen of Cups in general, because the cups, honey, that's emotions and love and all of that good stuff. And it's the Queen, that's her energy. So basically, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, if they don't show her no love, okay? Which ties back to what I said, that she's always been shown quote unquote love because she's quote unquote unfiltered. Reversed, Queen of Cups. So focused on making your colleagues, clients, or your boss happy that you have neglected doing what makes you happy. So, in this state of mind, you can easily slip into being someone who you are not. Okay? She's not gonna, the worst would be her not feeling like she's free to be who she is. The worst would be her having to watch her words, watch what she say, having to be conscious of how other people feels or how other people might take her words, to not be unfiltered anymore. That would be what Ramona sees as the worst, that she can't be herself and if she is herself, she'll lose her job. That's the worst. What's to come? The Hangman, upright, represents uncertainty about career, possible forced break, and ultimately thinking of next steps. Okay? She's definitely thinking about the next steps. She's slightly uncertain. The forced break comes in at no reunion. No reunion, ladies. What's to come? Clarifier. Okay, is the devil card upright, which does not mean, to anyone who may not understand the cards and may be new to me breaking all of this down, let me just say real quick, for, to conserve time, it does not mean devil worshiping or anything really to do with the devil himself. This is just imagery just to convey a point. Okay? Nobody, and let me repeat, nobody here is talking about or having anything to do with the devil, all of that negative, low vibrational stuff. This is just imagery to convey a point. Okay? Now, it represents feeling powerless to make the changes in this job that would make her feel secure. Ramona may enter a level of self sabotage if she plays the victim victim when it comes to this particular situation. Ramona is afraid to take accountability for this situation. That fear prevents her from seeing the opportunity of empowerment. Okay? Again, Ramona is afraid to take accountability for this situation, which is preventing her from seeing the opportunity of empowerment to come from this situation. With that, we see that in Ramona being apprehensive about the upcoming reunion. This is when it was thought to be upcoming, because she believes that Eboni was going to make her look like a racist. She's feeling powerless because the producers have given her a pass in the past for her unfiltered, quote unquote, behavior. Okay? She's more than convinced that it is expected of her. At this point, it's expected because they do that thing where it's like, oh, that's just Ramona. Now she's perfectly ready to play victim if she's painted as a racist. She is terrified to be painted as a racist against black people. Okay? And so, unless she has an awakening, she's not going to be taking accountability anytime soon because she feels like it'll paint her as a racist. And she's terrified of that for a couple of reasons. One is her bottom dollar. She has no measurement for how that may affect her income. Okay? Being labeled as a racist against black people. She feels like it will affect her income, but she can't measure it. She doesn't know. And that is terrifying to her. It scares the bejesus out of her. Also, inside of her, honestly, she does not feel like she's a racist. And she doesn't appreciate trying to be made to appear like a racist when she said, this is why we shouldn't have black people on the show. She said that in a response to Eboni. Now, first of all, let me say this. Let me cut my own self off and say this real quick to y'all. What I'm getting ready to say is in no way I'm not for or necessarily against Ramona. I am explaining the situation the way that spirit is showing me so that I can explain the situation. So as Ebony's sitting there at the table and she's explaining to Luann that, why all of a sudden are you afraid of me? Why are you guys saying that I'm aggressive? Why are you guys saying that I'm talking loud and yelling when I'm not? However, you just and you're telling me to get out of your house. Okay? When you just let Leah, a white girl, cuss you out right in your face and spit on it with spittle. And then they say, well, she gets a pass because her grandmother is about to pass away. Because at that point she hadn't passed yet. And so they're like, she gets a pass because her grandma's sick. Ebony points out, my grandmother is sick as well. My grandmother's in the same position as well. We are around the same age. The only difference is I'm black, she's white. So in response to Ebony trying to explain to them about their horrible behavior and how it's only because she's black, because the words that Leah said, she told them all to go suck a dick, and they were all right with that. I mean, and I ain't talking about the act, I'm talking about being cussed out and told to go. I think she told them to go suck a dick, and I'm almost positive, and called them whores, and she said a bunch of horrible things. Ebony did not say anything remotely close to any of that. But yet they're, oh, you're aggressive and we're afraid. And, girl, what are you talking about? And then they're talking about we give her a pass because her grandmother is sick. Well, Ebony's is sick too. So, with all of that being said, and Ebony just clearly pointing out, as lawyers do, the good ones anyway, that the only difference is that I'm black, Ramona is, I'm sure they all may have felt this way, but Ramona is the quote unquote unfiltered one that said it, that this is why we shouldn't have black people on the show. Now, this could be an opportunity of empowerment because if she would just admit to it and admit to, you know, anyway, if she was open and willing to learn from this and become a more aware person who is sensitive to other cultures, then that would be empowerment. And I see it as an opportunity for empowerment, but she doesn't. She doesn't. This reading says she does not, honey. She's fighting that as of right now. How it stands right now, she's fighting all of that. Okay? Y'all ain't gonna tell her she is racist. Um, so it is what it is. And what it is I just showed you what it is. So get down in those comments. But one more thing. If you have listened to this entire video from beginning to end, I thank you so much and you are a superstar, okay? Absolute superstar. I wish there was a way that I could tell because I would give you guys something, some kind of prize or something, all right? Because I know I can get long winded, but if you can believe it or not, there's a lot that I didn't include, which is why I soon am going to come out with some lives where it's behind the scenes, okay? Because I do so much research and I have so many things to support the points that I make, and a lot gets left on the cutting room floor. And I am going to come at you guys with some live behind the scenes where we can get even more in the nitty gritty. But I thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Sages. Thank you so much. Also, please be patient. I am going to put up stamps, timestamps as soon as I can. As you guys all know, I'm working on new projects with other create content creators, and hopefully this channel can grow and expand in due time. Okay, but your support is not overlooked. I appreciate it. Every single moment you watch and support me and click thumbs up and make a comment, all of that. I appreciate every single moment of it. Okay, I really do from the bottom of my heart. Also, you guys, I want you to be safe. Please remember to at least wash your hands. And again, I'll put in timestamps with different places. So just please be patient. All right. And may you all be blessed. Bye.